Hello guys, happy new year. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. I'm sure you're feeling nice and relaxed after our yoga session there. I just want to take a bit of time today to share a brief presentation with you on habits, in particular breaking bad habits and building new habits, especially in relation to nutrition, training, and your daily step count. So I've created a small PowerPoint presentation here, so you've got something to look at other than my ugly bake. And I'm recording this now using my laptop on Zoom, so hopefully I don't sound too much like I'm chatting to you from inside of 10 of baked beans and you can hear me okay. So let's start with a quick definition of what habits actually are. For most of us, when we think of habits, we probably just imagine things like biting your nails or chewing with your mouth open. But in reality, they're actually much more than that. They're all of the rituals and behaviors that we perform every day, most of the time without even really thinking about it. So, like scrolling your phone before you get out of bed in the morning, that same route you take to work each day, or even having a mid morning coffee, these are all habits. The person you are today is actually a byproduct of your habits to date, both good and bad. They play such a large role within our identity that taking action to adapt them can change your life as you know it. And trust me on this, I was never a morning person until I decided to pursue a career with a 4:45 a.m. alarm. Right. So for those of you who have possibly read books by Charles Duhigg or James Clear, you may be familiar with the concept of the habit loop. For those of you who haven't, don't stress too much. This isn't a psychology lecture. I just think it's a pretty cool tool to know the current simplified theory on how habits actually would work within our mind. So you've got your cue, your routine, and your rewards. The routine is the behavior or habit in question. The reward is what we achieve by actually carrying out the habit. That would be like your positive reinforcement. And the cue is the thing that would trigger our behavior. So sometimes it's dead simple. So perhaps our routine is that we have a cup of coffee first thing in the morning. The reward would be that you want to feel more alert and awake. The cue is that when our alarm goes off, we feel tired and groggy. However, sometimes, especially in the case of bad habits, they require a wee bit more thought. So this is where things would get a wee bit more interesting. This is where we may have to do a wee bit of digging to find out why we do the things we do, especially the things which could possibly have a negative influence on our health and fitness goals, which is what we want to talk about today. Um, at the moment, what I would like you to do is have a bit of a think. Personally, why don't you choose a current bad habit which you feel that you have that is maybe going to negatively impact a health and fitness goal? Using the habit loop that we were just discussing there and a wee bit of investigation, you can find out what it is that you really want and what triggers your bad habit. And in that way, you can plan ahead and break it. I'm going to run through a quick example here that I'm sure we can all relate to, and then you can do one that's personal to you. So let's say you are a biscuit fiend, okay, especially mid morning, maybe on your tea break. So why do you want them? Yes, okay, we know they're tasty, but you need to dig a wee bit deeper than that. They're also very handy. Yes, that's true. But when you get them, why do you eat so many? Well, actually, around 10 a.m., I'm friggin' starving. Ah, right. Okay. See, now we're getting somewhere. Now we know that hunger there is probably the cue. So we can play around with planning for this to find what works for us to break this habit. So, for example, a bigger, better breakfast. So the hunger cue would come later at lunchtime, or maybe we've got a better snack prepared to replace the biscuits when that mid morning hunger cue strikes at 10 a.m. The thing is here that I want you to take from this is you can't simply stop a bad habit. It's not enough to just say stop eating biscuits at 10 a.m. You need to build new habits to substitute the old ones and do a wee bit of experimenting to find what works for us. So when it comes to building a new habit, there's a few things that I'd like you to take on board. We need to keep it simple. We need to start small and then gradually improve. The easier something is, the less motivation and willpower is required, the more consistent you will be. Building a new habit can be a slow process. Sometimes it can be pretty tempting to lose patience and give up, but you need to keep at it if you want to reap the benefits of it. And see if you do slip up, it's best to get back at it as soon as you can. What I'd like to do is just run through a selection of good habits in relation to helping promote better nutrition, training session attendance, and a higher step count. These lists are by no means exhaustive, right? These are just simple ideas that I've thought about, which, although are seemingly small or insignificant, can have a compounding effect when it comes to the impact on your health and fitness. So, why don't we start with nutrition? So doing a weekly grocery shop, right? This means really that you're going to visit the shops less. It reduces the temptation to buy things that you don't need, especially sweets that are probably sitting there up at the till. That's not a coincidence, guys. You know they're placed up there for a reason, because you're going to grab them. Planning and preparing your meals, that takes the guesswork out of it. So you're less likely to stray off course and have a takeaway if you know that dinner is sitting in the fridge. Also, there's no point preparing your meal if you don't remember to pack it. So pack the snacks, pack the meals. That'll stop you running the subway at lunchtime and then the inevitable cookie afterwards. Food tracking, so tracking your food. You may think you know what you eat in a day, but when it's actually written down, it may come as a bit of a shock. It's a bit of an eye opener sometimes to see the calorie content of some of your favorite foods. But what it does is that it enables you to make informed choices, and it's something that I believe we should all do from time to time. Avoid mindless eating. What I mean by that is sitting grazing, say, in front of the TV. When that's happening, you aren't actually thinking about what you're doing or how you're feeling. And that distraction a lot of the time can cause us to overeat. So when it comes to your meals, it is best just to sit at the table. Seems old fashioned, but it's very true. When I talk about food storage and presentation, what I mean by that is if you're going to have crisps and chocolate in the house, don't store them front and center or have them sitting out. If you see them, you will eat them. And I'm sure I've seen some of you talk about when your chocolates are sitting under the Christmas tree. What did you do? You just grab them every time. It's natural. Um, you're best having better snacks more easily accessible. So on the kitchen counter, at the front of the fridge, if you've got those more available, you're more likely to grab them instead. In terms of presentation, why don't you try having your snacks on a plate? It gives you a far better idea of portion sizes. Smaller plates equal smaller portions. It kind of is that simple. Don't forget to stay on top of your water consumption, guys. We talk about this all the time, not just for the health benefits of drinking water, but more along the fact that so many people confuse thirst for hunger. It's actually a massive cause for needless snacking. So stay on top of it. Lastly, I've mentioned here minty magic. And I know I've chatted to a few about this before. This is something that I personally do. When I'm cooking, I chew chewing gum. It stops me grazing and snacking and nibbling while I'm waiting on my meal being prepared. It's something I feel a lot of people would probably do. Also, when I'm done for the day and I've thought myself, right, I've hit my calorie target, or that's me finishing my meals, I would brush my teeth as soon as possible, because whenever I do that, I never want to ruin that fresh mintiness with another snack. It works for me. It may work for you. I don't know if it's just because I feel too lazy to go and brush my teeth again or what it is, but that's what I do. So maybe it's something that you can try and take on board. Okay, so there's just a few ideas about nutrition. Right, training. Let's think about how we can increase our likelihood of attending the gym. Firstly, booking your sessions in advance. Now, I know that if you have a session scheduled at a certain time on a certain day, it'll allow you to plan your day and your week accordingly. You will definitely more likely attend the session if you have it booked in advance. Why not try an early start? So a lot of us feel that our motivation or our enthusiasm would just reduce as the day goes on. So why not strike before our day gets on top of us? If you're going to do that, then we can build some habits into our bedtime routine to make the process easier, like setting your alarm or alarms, and also setting out your gym gear so you're more prepared when you wake up and it's not as much of a hassle at that time in the morning when you're tired. If early mornings aren't for you, you can still make the process easier by packing your gym gear so you can go straight to the gym from wherever you are without going home and possibly getting sucked into the sofa. Sometimes as well, guys, dressing for the occasion is enough. So just putting on your gym gear. We all have those days where you don't really feel like training, but if you actually just put on your gym gear anyway, sometimes it feels like, well, I've went that far, I might as well just do the session now. It's a good wee habit to take on board. Another thing we can do is commit to train with a friend, or also commit with one of us, one of the coaches. Now you've got some accountability. Now you've got someone to answer to, especially if you miss a session. Finally, I've put here about tracking your sessions and also your progress. So, for example, like a book that we would say to record your reps and weights of certain exercises, there's no better motivation than looking back and seeing how far you've come. Okay, there's a few ideas just with regards to our training. And then now let's talk a wee bit about our daily steps. So firstly, as I'm sure a lot of you noticed recently when we were doing our step challenges, simply tracking your steps and aiming for a target is a bit of a game changer. I know a lot of you were walking around your bedroom to hit that 10,000 mark before you went to bed. Um, Next here, I've got, if you've got a desk job, I know from experience that the day can sort of whiz by. You may feel like you're sort of chained to your chair. Why not try setting a reminder on your calendar or on your phone to get up and move about? And if you have calls that can be made away from Zoom and away from just video calls, why don't you try and do them on the move? Okay, anything just to add a few steps in during the day. Oldies but goodies I've listed here. Avoid lifts and escalators. The stairs really are your friend. Why don't you park a wee bit further away in Tesco's, or try getting off the bus or train a stop early? I know you've heard these 1,000 times before, but for good reason, guys, because they actually work. Um, if you are in an office, okay, I know a lot of you are working at home, but if you are in the office, maybe you avoid lunchtime walks because your heels or your shoes are uncomfortable, pack your trainers, okay? Pack your trainers, that'll help. Last but not least, stop yelling down the stairs for your mum or your husband or whoever it may be to bring you a cup of tea. Get up, move, get it yourself. These steps add up, trust me. I know I've talked before about how I would hit over 30,000 steps on a typical Monday in here just by simply walking up and down our blue track. These wee things all add together, guys. Okay. Lastly, here, I've just included a bit of a reading list. So that's it from me, and hopefully, some of the things I've said today with regard to breaking a bad habit or building a new habit would stick with you and can be relatable. If anyone wants to learn any more, then why don't you give these things a go? I reread Atomic Habits this week because I really do think it is that good. Yeah, that's it, guys, from me. Hopefully, you enjoyed that there. I'll speak to you very soon. Cheerio.